This is a First Warn Tri-City Severe Weather Alert. Here is Chief Forecaster Skylar Doyle.
We should have audio now. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't notice we didn't have audio. We should have sound now. You can let me know in the chat if we do. Let me just go ahead and recap. We have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for far eastern parts of Leslie County, most of Perry County, and into parts of Breathitt and Knott County, Kentucky as well. This does go until 10:30, but this is about to exit the warning rapidly. I expect a new warning will be issued soon because we have an area of strong winds from east of Hyden through Hazard, right here just southwest of Hazard. That's where the strongest winds are, just west of the block. I'm waiting to see if a new warning comes out. The radar estimating winds between 70 and 80 miles an hour in this area near the Leslie-Perry County line. So this kind of Y-ish kind of warning here means that the damage tag is destructive. And when the Weather Service sees evidence of this strong of winds, they upgrade it. It's an extremely dangerous situation, severe thunderstorm warning. So that is what it is. The tornado threat for Whitesburg is low, very low, but not entirely zero. I'm more concerned about damaging straight line winds as this heads towards Whitesburg if it does not weaken. Let me go back to our reflectivity. This is just the rainfall mode. All right, looks like they've updated this destructive warning. They've kept it destructive and continuing it for Knott, Perry, and far eastern, Leslie County. It's for this over in Hazard right now and pushing off to the east, the southeast here. Yeah, it's for this area right here, pushing southeast. Blackie, Daisy, about to get impacted. Destructive severe thunderstorm warning now. Again, radar suggesting up to 80 miles an hour winds. We have this kind of outflow boundary from Clintwood to Whitesburg. Once it interacts with the outflow, the hope is that should weaken it. But I can't 100% guarantee that because these have now strengthened a lot. And I do have this 80 mile an hour wind warning now. So if you're in the Hazard area, kind of treat this like a tornado warning. Right now, if you're in Hazard, you want to be in your tornado safe place. This thunderstorm could produce winds up to 80 miles an hour at this current time. So again, if you are in Hazard, you want to be in that safe place. Right here is your strong winds. Here comes the new radar scan. Now they're just here south of the block. So Viper, Cornetsville, Blackie, Haley, Slimp, Wentz. You kind of want to get in your safe place. I'm going to track out the strongest of winds. This is moving southeast now at 55. So if this holds together, not saying it will, but if this holds together over the next hour, I'm just tracking the strongest of winds within this. Give me just a moment, folks. Let me hit do that, and then let me see if I can clear that and then redo it. So I'm tracking the strongest of winds southeast at about, that'll work. Well, no, because now the strongest winds is exiting that. Okay, so here's the strongest winds moving southeast at 55. If this storm holds together, which I do not think the strong winds will hold together this long, Cumberland, Daisy 1025, Blackie 1029, Cumberland 1037, Lynch 1041, Keokee 1047, Appalachia 1050, Dryden 1050, Big Stone Gap 1052, UVA Wise 1055, Castlewood 1112, Gate City 1113, Churchill 1114, Hilton's 1117. I don't think the destructive winds will hold together that long, but if they do, that's where the destructive winds are as it pushes in. So again, this is very strong, potentially damaging, or definitely damaging, but potentially destructive straight line winds from Jeff to the south of the block near Viper, pushing southeast toward Daisy, Cornettsville, Wentz, Blackie, Line Fork, Cumberland, eventually Appalachia and Big Stone Gap. Let me put on reflectivity to show you the rain mode within this. And this is what the entire line looks like. The entire line is severe, and hopefully as this outflow boundary will weaken, and it looks like this part is, it's this part that is staying strong that we're having to watch as it pushes to the south and east. So if you're in this area, you want to be taking shelter indoors. And again, we do have that destructive severe thunderstorm warning here for far eastern Leslie and the central parts of Perry County. The Weather Service saying a destructive storm for Hazard. And what they've done is, I think they're going to let the destructive warning go. And this warning now for a larger area from Hyden to Black to Whitesburg is being upgraded to a considerable damage tag. So 70-mile-an-hour winds possible in the considerable damage warning. Again, we still have the destructive warning, but the strongest of winds pushing out of the warning toward Daisy and Blackie. Let me turn on the readouts here. Radar definitely not picking up on as strong of winds, but still some pixels in here over 60 miles an hour. Earlier, radar was detecting potentially 80 to 90 mile-an-hour winds aloft in the storm. And those strong winds continue right now toward just now west of Jeff toward the Daisy area. So if you're in this area, you want to take shelter. Again, these warnings go until 1045 for a good part of Leslie County, western Harlan, western Letcher, and now this one has the considerable damage tag. The Weather Service likely going to let this destructive one go here. Let me show you the destructive one. Well, there is still a destructive, but the considerable, for some reason, it's only pinning the considerable. But you have the considerable damage threat tag for 70-mile-an-hour winds, western Letcher, most of Leslie, northwest Harlan County. Then it's really the area I'm more concerned about from Vico to Jeff to Daisy, pushing toward Blackie and Cumberland. That'd be the area that has the strong, potentially 70-mile-an-hour winds as it pushes in. The rest of this is becoming outflow dominant, which means you got a gust front kind of powering it along through here, which will weaken it some. But it's this from west of Wayland to Hyman to Vico to near and just east of Hyden that is holding its own and could at least push close to the Kentucky-Virginia border. We should get rid of the destructive warning soon. We'll probably keep the considerable. I know we'll definitely keep the considerable warning. There's that destructive warning, again, till 10:30 They'll probably expire that early. Likely will not make it to Kingsport, Bristol, Johnson City, but I'm going to turn on a... Yeah, and they've let... Let me triple check. Yeah, they've let the destructive warning go, so we no longer have any destructive severe thunderstorm warnings, so that's good news. So show the alerts real quick and zoom out to a DMA view. So this is what we have. Our viewing area county is kind of highlighted here. So we cover eastern Kentucky, southwest Virginia, northeast Tennessee, far west, northwest North Carolina. And these are very likely not going to make it into Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City as severe weather. The outflow boundary should weaken it as it pushes closer to the Virginia-Kentucky border. But we'll watch it, obviously, just in case. Models have done a terrible job. They didn't even have this complex at all on the radar. So they've done a terrible job with this system. It should be weakening a little bit, at least. The destructive tag is gone, so that's good news. But we're watching it again, 70 mile an hour considerable damage tag still on this. So again, the outflow boundary should weaken it, but we're going to watch that. Watch it as long as they have a considerable damage severe thunderstorm warning on it. We're going to keep it, and definitely this area we're watching closely. So the good news is the destructive warning has been allowed to expire, but I'm still seeing winds of 60 to 70 kind of pulsing back up here between Jeff and Daisy and Perry County. That'll push into northwest Harlan, far western Leslie, or far western, excuse me, Letcher. For the Whitesburg area, as I turn me back on, you'll see this part of the storm as well, kind of as this whole line pushes south and east. The Weather Service here, so they expired the, they're saying these are still moving at 55 when they continued the considerable. They say this has weakened below destructive limits. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, remains in effect with the considerable damage tag until 10:45 for the same areas. Again, no longer destructive storm, which is good news. For a storm to be destructive, it's got to have baseball-sized hail or 80 mile an hour winds, one or the other, or greater. And we don't have that. We had some 80 mile an hour wind potential as the storm pushed through Hazard. That's why we had the... It looks like we're going to get a new warning here for 60 mile an hour winds. Not exactly sure how this is going to be. This will go all the way to the border. So this does include Everett, Cumberland, Whitesburg, Jenkins. The good news is this does not have a considerable tag on it. It's just 60 mile an hour winds. We're back to the baseline now. I'm going to watch this notch here near Daisy. See if we see any now. But this goes until 11:15. I'm still watching. We still have some strong winds, potentially gusting 60 to 70. So, taking the destructive and the considerable tag off. Radar detecting wind aloft in this storm of 60 to 65, especially in the part near Daisy. But like I said, we're going to be watching it because these do have a history of potentially producing destructive winds around Hazard. But it's really this part from near Daisy up toward Wayland that's severe as it moves east-southeast. And the storms are moving at 40 miles an hour now. So they've also slowed down, which means probably the wind has slowed down as well. We'll get to tomorrow at the end of the stream. Right now, we think these will weaken before they get to the to Bristol, Gray, Kingsport, Johnson City. But again, we do cover Kentucky, southwestern Northeast Tennessee, and about 5 in far northwest North Carolina. So when we have those counties under warnings, especially under those destructive type warnings, destructive and considerable type warnings, we're going to come on the air as long as we're able to and give you that live information, because those destructive warnings are definitely necessary. These are going to be special from Manchester to Hyde, and that is warning of some strong thunderstorms, maybe up to 50 miles an hour wind. But we do have the severe thunderstorm warning Anywhere you see the pinks or brighter colors, that's where the storms are when I'm on this map. So especially Daisy to Blackie to just southwest of Wheelwright right here. Let me turn on the storm relative velocity. That's where we'll look at see if we have any rotation within this thunderstorm. Weather Service does not have a tornado possible tag on this. Maybe a little bit near southwest of Wheelwright that we'll have to watch. But this is not an environment overly conducive for tornadoes. Good news. So it's really these storms here. I'll do a storm track on them real quick. And then I'll make a decision on if or not until these storms are gone. Moving on southeast at about 45. The severe part of this, Blackie around 1030, Whitesburg 1039, Cumberland 1042, Fleming Neon 1043, Lynch 1045, Jenkins 1048, Pound 1052, Keokee 1054, Big Stone 1059, Wise and Norton right around 11, Coburn 1109, St. Paul 1120, Gate City 1124. Again, let's see if these hold together all the way down to Gate City. Here should start to weaken things, but this kind of part of the line has been holding its own so far, so something we're at least watching. Enhanced reflectivity here as well west of Wheelwright near Papa Passes. That could be indicative of some hail within this, so still strong updraft at least. Going here to our velocity scan from Daisy to Blackie to Wheelwright, that's where we're seeing the strongest thunderstorm wind gust within this. Again, we'll watch to see any kinks in this line, especially as it interacts with these boundaries, see if we could get any tornado. As we've said, we don't think these will hit the Tri-Cities as severe. We think these will weaken as they get close to or across the Virginia-Kentucky border. Appalachia, Big Stone Gap, I'd stay on guard. These have, most of these in Kentucky over the past hour, 2 hours have shown a weakening trend. These just pulsed up though. So we'll have to watch them. As they interact with the outflow boundary, they should weaken, but we'll have some warning potential in northern Lee and Wise and Dickinson County with this system. I don't think we'll get warnings, maybe into northern Scott, but I don't think we'll get warnings past northern Lee, Wise, northern Scott, maybe far western Russell and Dickinson, then parts of Dickinson County. I don't think we get warnings past that. Just in my opinion, I think the outflow boundary will weaken it to where we won't have a need for any warnings. And we'll still watch this. I'm going to put my finger. Cancel Clay County, Kentucky. No, that's displaced, so that's good. I'm not looking at anything rotation within this. It's mainly strong damaging straight line winds, but again from Daisy, Blackie, southwest of Wheelwright, there south of Papa Passes, where you're seeing these enhanced colors, the pinks, the yellows, that's where we're seeing the potential of maybe some 50, 60, 65 mile an hour wind gusts. These are heading in the general direction of Whitesburg and Cumberland, and eventually toward Wise County. So we'll watch it very closely as it gets here, as it's pushing right now into Letcher County, and then eventually toward Wise County. We'll see if these storms continue pushing off to the east, and if so, we'll obviously continue providing live coverage. If they stay severe like this. Still watching enhanced wind potential. Definitely, okay, a new warning. So the Weather Service in Morristown is going to warn out in advance of this for Lee, Scott, Wise, and the city of North Gap through all of Wise County and western parts of Scott County. The Weather Service in Morristown is going to go ahead and start with severe thunderstorm warnings into southwestern parts of Virginia now. So, including Pennington Gap, St. Charles, Stickleyville, Duffield, Coburn, Norton, Big Stone Gap, Wise, Pound. So the Weather Service thinks these will at least stick together enough to potentially produce severe weather in those areas. This goes until 11:15. So again, this is something we're going to have to watch. Again, these are just 60-mile-an-hour baseline warnings, so I'm not sure if we'll stay for the entirety of the warnings unless the winds start picking back up to considerable levels. But especially here from Daisy to Blackie, south of Wheelwright, west of Mayking, so toward Jenkins, Whitesburg, Cumberland, we're going to have to watch for the potential of some of these strong thunderstorm winds. If these hold together, they would hit Duffield. No tornado warnings right now. Not seeing anything in the way of rotation. Pennington Gap, the strongest winds will push to your north, but technically in this severe thunderstorm warning, but I think the severe part of this will be to your north, just north of Pennington Gap. So we'll be watching closely. Let's go to the radar imagery. This is what we're watching. It's these severe storms, and again, that warning disappeared. It was not supposed to. Just a new scan of the radar coming in. These, you can tell on the south side of this is weakening. It's the northern side that's not. So we are seeing weakening. They pulsed up real quick right before they weakened. And that's what got us really, really concerned. Yeah, power's probably going to start flickering and potentially some power outages here in Letcher County. Blackie, Whitesburg, the strong winds coming toward you, as well up near Millstone and Jenkins. Strong winds probably minutes away. The Weather Service in Morristown saying these are moving at 50 now, so they've once again strengthened, or moving. They've not really strengthened, they're moving a little faster. These are moving southeast from northwest to southeast. These storms are. Let's go ahead and right now I'm thinking it's probably just going to be rain, thunder, lightning, 30 to 50 mile-an-hour winds for Pennington. I don't think you'll see severe criteria winds. No tornado warnings in effect for any part of the First Warn Tri-Cities viewing area, just severe thunderstorm warnings for damaging straight line winds. These would be in the Tri-Cities in about an hour if they hold together. Whitesburg, about 3 minutes from now. Cumberland, 10:41. Payne Gap, 10:45. Pound, 10:50. Big Stone around 10:55, along with Dryden. Norton, 10:57. Coburn, 11:04. Gate City, 11:19. Kingsport, 11:25 if they hold together. They are weakening, though. And I don't expect, there's no tornado warnings right now, and I don't expect any. I can't rule it out. It's a very, 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 very low possibility. But I definitely don't expect any. Unless we get a little mesoscale incident when it combines with an outflow boundary or something. Then we'd have to watch for it. But mainly this is going to be damaging straight line winds. As these push through, yeah, I'm not seeing anything else from relative velocity that stands out rotation-wise. There might be a little kink here on the Letcher. I think this is Letcher not county line, west of Wheelwright, northwest of Neon. But I don't think it's very low risk. We also have flash flood warnings off to the north and west, from Hindman to Jackson to Compton to Salyersville, Stanton, Hazel Green. So we'll watch for the flood concerns with this as well. Some isolated scattered flash flooding will be possible as this continues to push south and east. Real quick, while we've got you here, let's go ahead and take a look at tomorrow's risk, because tomorrow the risk shifts south and east of this. With the outlook that was last updated at 1:32 p.m. today, SPC outlook has areas south of Harlan, Big Stone Gap, Lebanon, Saltville, south, and a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. And this could include some scattered damaging wind gusts, very low risk of a tornado, but it's not zero tomorrow. So we'll be watching things closely tomorrow afternoon and evening between about 2 and 9 p.m., but especially 4 and 8 p.m. Tomorrow. Again, mainly in that level 2 out of 5 slight risk area. if we see any tornado risk, that's where that would be. So again, the severe weather continues pushing through Letcher County into kind of northeast Harlan, and then eventually into parts of western Scott, northern Lee. The storms are gradually weakening, but still strong and severe, pushing into Cumberland, Whitesburg, eventually to Jenkins, and then into Pound. That's kind of the strongest part of the line, but still some strong wind potential from Blackie to Daisy to Cumberland. The lightning has kind of went down in this a little bit. That's indicative of some weakening. Also, doubt these storms are as tall as what they once was. Yeah, I'm going to watch this. This is kind of starting to catch my eye, if that continues. No, I don't think so. I think we're just straight line winds at this point. Mine had a brief area rotation. I'm watching an area, though, of enhanced winds. I think that's what that is more than less. Pushing into Fleming Neon. So if you're in Neon, I'd be away from windows. We're seeing another pulse up in winds, potentially over 70 miles an hour. Radar indicated about 72 mile an hour winds, about 2,700 feet above the surface. So these might not be making it down to the surface, but the radar beam height at about 2,700 feet here. We're seeing 65 to 75 mile an hour winds. So those will push Pound. So if you're in those areas, you're going to want to be inside and away from windows. So since I have that wind signature, I'm going to stay here a few more minutes. I was about to sign off, but we're going to sit here a little while longer. Seeing a little bit of enhanced wind near Cumberland as well. Let's zoom in there and enable the readouts. Yeah, these are not as strong, up to 60. Getting a radar scan though, so we'll be able to, I'll zoom in up here. As these push right into Fleming Neon and Jenkins, what the winds look like. That scan will take just a second to come around. Here it comes. Yeah, they're still staying strong here. Millstone, Sargent, Fleming Neon, Jenkins, Pound. Still detecting 70 mile an hour wind potential there. Again, that's 2,700 feet above the surface, but probably 50 to 60 translating to the ground. The severe warnings are south of Pikeville. So south of Pikeville, north of Harlan. And then we'll see the Weather Service. So the Weather Service in Jackson handles southeast Kentucky. Morristown handles these three counties here in southwest Virginia, along with Russell and Washington. The Weather Service in Charleston and West Virginia handles Dickinson and Buchanan. So we'll see if they extend this into far western Dickinson. That's definitely possible. If it holds together, it'll hit Gate City. They are slowly starting to weaken. So I'm thinking they should be at least below severe limits by the time they get to Gate City, but we still may see some showers, thunderstorms, Gate City, Kingsport, Bristol, but in a weakening state, hopefully. As you can see now, all the warnings have been dropped from Hyden to Manchester to Corbin. Before the camera cut off and went to sleep on me. So from London to Manchester to Hyden, those warnings have been dropped. It's now just this part that's warned, and at least the southwest part of this is starting to lose some of the organization with it. This up from Whitesburg to Fleming Neon has not lost any organization. Yeah, it definitely has. It's actually getting a little stronger, especially. I wouldn't be surprised maybe even if we're seeing some quarter-size hail within this. We have two scans trying to overlap. Normally if I do that, that'll fix it. Yeah. Fleming Neon, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe some quarter-size hail as well. Pushing in. And yeah, definitely, there's that wind potential. On the leading edge of this, could see some 60 mile an hour, 65 mile an hour wind gusts. As it pushes in. So, yeah, these winds right now, basically right over just southwest of Fleming Neon toward Tullivertown, Secco, pushing toward Payne Gap. These are some pretty hefty wind readings from the Jackson radar, about 2,900 feet up, but 70 mile an hour wind readings. Down here near Cumberland, we're also getting some readings of 60 to 65, maybe isolated 70, about 2,900 feet up. So let's check storm relative velocity. So the Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia is not going to issue a warning. They're going to issue a special weather statement for Dickinson. If I had anything rotating right here. No. No rotation within this. This is just straight line winds. But the Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia says strong thunderstorms will impact southwest Dickinson through 11:15, including Clintonwood, Trammell, McClure, and Nora. But they are not going to put a severe warning out for Dickinson County. So that's just going to be a strong thunderstorm alert when it pushes into there. So what we're going to do, I'd like to get some of these 70-mile-an-hour wind readings. I know it's 2,900 feet up in the atmosphere. Sometimes those can translate down to the surface, so I'd like to get some of those wind readings down before we go off. Big Stone Gap could see some 40 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gust as this pushes through. I do want to let you know, you folks that are dedicated, watch the live stream. First off, I appreciate you for that. We might not have as much live coverage during the severe weather tomorrow due to my work schedule. We have backup plan after backup plan, but if we have a tornado warning, we'll do everything we can to get on the air. I want you to know that. If we have a tornado warning in any of the counties we serve, we will do anything and everything we can to get on the air. But unfortunately, this isn't my full-time job. So I wish it was, but unfortunately it's not. So we'll have to. But we'll do everything we can. We'll obviously have mini posts. G-wing down here in southwest Lee County. We'll watch these, but they are weakening, not severe. So really no severe weather for you this evening. Let's pull up the new velocity. It'll scan across here in just a minute. Wise could see some 40 to 60 mile an hour winds as this pushes through here over the next few minutes or so. Or pushes in, I should say. Should start getting a new velocity scan here anytime. We saw how these kind of winds have really developed. They kind of backed off for a minute near Daisy. We had the destructive winds near Hazard, and they've kind of picked back up a little bit near Cumberland, and in this area near Millstone, about to push into Pound, has also really picked up. Kingsport right now not looking. Here comes the new velocity. We've lost some of those 70 mile an hour readings, so that's good. Kingsport right now, these storms should be slowly weakening and likely not severe in the metro. You can see the southern part of this is weakening. It's the northern part now that we're kind of keeping our eye on. Future radar is kind of back and forth on tomorrow. Models are kind of, not all models are in agreement as typical summertime setups. I don't like future radar because of that pinpoints me down to specific areas getting specific things. And that's just not, I mean, none of the models had any of this on them. Yesterday, if I would have came on and showed you a future radar for today, it wouldn't have had any of this on it. So I don't like really relying specifically on one radar model to show a future radar for tomorrow, especially in a summertime setup like this. I can tell you we'll have a weak cold front coming in that'll pop off showers and thunderstorms. Some could get organized into these little lines, or potentially a bigger line with a couple cells out ahead of it. And that could produce some 60, 65 mile an hour wind gusts as it pushes through. In spots, not everywhere, and could produce some severe thunderstorm warnings. Very low risk of an isolated tornado, but not out of the question. Pennington Gap, just going to see some rain, thunder, lightning, 30, 40 mile an hour winds out of this. I don't think you're going to see anything severe weather-wise in Pennington Gap. You're technically, I guess, under the severe thunderstorm warning, but most of the severe conditions will be just north of you, as we've said since we've came on. That warning got extended. Yeah, the Ring of Fire could end any time now, and I would be totally fine with it. Look and see, I don't see any damage reports yet. I'll be watching for damage reports out of eastern Leslie County where we had that destructive warning. Here's the velocity as this pushes into Wise County. You can see kind of the most severe part of this pushing into western Wise County from Pardee to Jenkins over to Pound. Let's take a live look over Norton. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try. Okay. We are not going to take a live look over Norton. I think the camera's down. Let's see, do I have there? I do not. I have pin. They're still saying 60 mile an hour wind, the max with this. Looks like the Pennington Gap camera also does not want to work. Let's go back to radar. So this is what we're looking at and watching, especially from Jenkins to Pardee to Pound. We'll also watch this little area near Keokee that could produce some strong winds. I think we're going to see severe winds is going to be in this. Pound's been hit particularly hard over the past week. Hopefully it's not too bad there. I feel like we are behind of the scan on the velocity, and we are. Hopefully that will catch up to itself here in just a minute. Honaker, probably not going to see anything severe out of this. There on the east side of Russell. Yeah, so as we see here, strongest winds from Pardee to Pound right now. A little bit of strong winds as well from Appalachia to Keokee. So basically from Keokee, Appalachia, Dunbar, Pardee, Pound, this could be where we have some 50 to 60 mile an hour localized gusts, not everywhere. Yeah, we'll just watch this. Not expecting any tornadic activity, but we'll watch it closely. Go to the velocity one more time. Just look at this damaging wind potential. Again, as it comes from Keokee to Pound, that's kind of the area you could look at some damaging straight line winds, okay, along this line. And let me see if I can get the Norton camera to work, because that thing is going to get hit by some strong winds. Particularly a Pound camera would also potentially be nice. But I know sometimes if you ask for too much from those systems, yeah, the Pound camera I would want is not working. Norton also is just buffering. I could get you the Powell Valley overlook, but I think it's not what I would want. Yeah, too many of these say stream not available for me. So we will just stick with having radar. It probably won't be on too much longer as long as the slow weakening trend continues. I still wouldn't be shocked to see some 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts here into Southwest Virginia. We're definitely watching it closely. Obviously, we will be watching to see if these winds continue and if they'll have to extend these warnings or not. And if so, we'll obviously be here to let you know about it. Yeah, they're weakening. They've been weakening for 30 minutes. But they had got up to one point producing up to 80 mile an hour winds, so it takes them a little bit to weaken below severe limits. But, I mean, 4,000 feet up, they're only producing 50 to 60 mile an hour winds now. Maybe 65, and that's 3,000 to 4,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So these are definitely weakening. You can tell by looking, I mean, this back here, when we first came on, was lit up with heavy rain, lightning, thunder, and they're about nothing. It's this outflow boundary that's weakening things. Really, the concern now would be from Big Stone Gap, Norton to Pound, maybe pushing into Clintwood. But again, the outflow boundary will slowly weaken that as well. So these are definitely weakening as they push to the south and east. We'll do a storm track real quick and push these at about 40 miles an hour off to the south and east. the part that could potentially be producing severe weather. Kind of be heading toward pound about now. Well, actually, hang on. Storm track is going to be outdated. Yeah, let me move this. And you can tell now we're losing the purple on the reflectivity. Yeah. Slowly but surely, these are weakening. So, we're looking at Keokee 1055, Appalachia 1055, Big Stone Gap 1058, Norton 1059 along with Wise, UVA-Wise 1101, Copeland 1108, Dungannon 1113, Dane 1115, Nicholsville 1120, Bristol around 1130, 1140 if these hold together. The severe thunderstorm warnings until 1115, and we could have some strong thunderstorm winds. Not looking at any rotation. Norton could see some 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts localized, and not everywhere, that's for sure. If I switch us to the velocity, we'll see kind of stronger wind pixels here just west of Wise pushing in. And remember, the wind readings on radar is in this area 4,000 feet above the surface. Radar detecting 6 winds, but that's well above the surface. Same thing down here in Keokee. But again, these winds are well above 4,000 feet above surface level, above the with how the radar beam shoots up. So again, we're just watching them. We came on because we had a severe thunderstorm warning that was for far eastern Leslie County, and now Kentucky-wise, it's just the far eastern border with Virginia in a severe thunderstorm warning. But we had a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for 10 minutes for far eastern Leslie County, mainly for Perry County, but it did include parts of our viewing area. And when we get those destructive tags, we treat those like tornado warnings. We no longer have the potential for destructive 80-mile-an-hour winds within this. Right. It could be downgraded, but I don't think that slight risk is going to be downgraded. That slight risk is going to stay. The slight risk I totally agree with and will very likely stay. And again, that just means scattered severe storms. Not everyone will see one. And then straight line winds, maybe 40, 50 mile an hour gusts in pound. Thanks very much. Yes, definitely lots of heavy rain within it. As we go along here. So we will continue to watch it closely. We are probably going to get ready to sign off. Just want to look at velocity here. But thanks for that ground report for Wise, or from Pound, excuse me, in Wise County. That's greatly appreciated. Good to know. So we had some of the stronger winds move through there. I'd like to get one more velocity scan real quick, one more radar scan, then we'll plan to wrap this up if we have no more warnings. Obviously, if we get another warning. Yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning yesterday was in far, far southern Greene County. I mean, that was far southern Greene County. It actually did not include Camp Creek. It was for areas south of Camp Creek, and the storm kind of weakened after the warning that was pulse-like summertime thunderstorm. That was nothing. That wasn't a line of storms, anything like that. That was just a pulse time, pulsed up, pulsed down real quick. Summertime thunderstorm. That's why it's important to kind of stay in tune to the radar when you get a warning. And to a trusted weather source. Okay, we're getting a new radar scan. Again, heavy rain, gusty winds pushing into Norton, Wise, Appalachia, Big Stone Gap. But again, this is eventually Clintwood. This is generally weakening below severe limits. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15 for Wise County, northern Lee County, looking at potentially, and I don't know if this is radar contamination. Kind of looks like it's radar contamination to me. Here in Keokee. But potentially some 60 mile an hour gusts there. Everything else I think is now below severe limits because we're seeing 60-mile-an-hour winds. That would be 4,000 feet above the surface. This is generally weakening as it pushes southeast, as you can see with what we've had compared to what we had, I would say, 30 minutes ago. This is generally very much weakened. So I don't even know if this will make it to Kingsport. If so, 30 to 45 minutes-ish. I can put a storm track on it is what I can do at about 45 miles an hour. Yeah, wind picking up in Dryden, thanks for the report there. Could have some stronger winds there. So Kingsport, about 11:30ish. Hilton's 11:28. Kingsport 11:34. For the Kentucky town, if you can give me a little bit of a bigger city there. I'm not 100% sure of that one or what county you're in would be best. Thanks for that from Big Stone Gap. Thanks very much. We'll keep an eye on power outage numbers. Actually, let me turn off the chroma key wall and I'll check these Kentucky outages real quick. We are seeing some power outages in southeastern Kentucky. We're up to 917 in Leslie County, about 1,400 in Perry County, about 663 in Letcher County. So we'll be watching that closely. The power outage numbers as this pushes into southwestern Virginia. So again, there's the storm track over the next hour. Are expected to impact, but they are generally weakening. So move this out of the way at the ticker for areas on the south part of that toward Bristol. But again, these are weakening, so the odds of them being severe in Gate City, Kingsport, Bristol, Blountville, low but not zero. I expect warnings to be dropped at 11:15. I doubt we'll see an extension. If we do, it'll be a short-lived one. We could still be seeing some gusty winds, but these are weakening as expected. And likely the winds within this is below severe limits at 50 miles an hour, or probably 50 mile an hour or less. To be severe, a storm has to have 58 mile an hour winds or greater, or quarter-sized hail. But again, we're watching this closely because radar detecting strong winds in far northern Lee County into the Norton and Wise area. And these winds could easily be 40 to 50 gusts no matter what. And we could see an isolated 60 mile an hour wind gust, but I think the threat for that diminishing. So we're going to go off the air. We will sign off from now. Thanks for joining us. This has been a First Warn Tri-Cities Severe Weather Alert. I'm First Warn Tri-Cities Chief Forecaster Skylar Doyle. Severe thunderstorm remains for Wise County, northern Lee, western Scott until 11:15. Storms generally weakening, but some isolated 60 mile an hour wind gusts still possible within this line. If we get a new warning, we'll come back on and let you know about it. But again, these storms gradually weaken.